Socrates, the rebel philosopher who can make you unstoppable. You may not know much about Socrates, but this ancient Greek philosopher, who lived over 2,400 years ago, has more to offer your life than most people alive today. Why? Because Socrates mastered something most people ignore: the ability to think clearly, speak truth boldly, and live with deep purpose. And if you're growing up in today's world, full of distractions, opinions, pressures, and noise, then you need his mindset more than ever. Who was Socrates? Socrates didn't write books. He didn't get rich. He didn't run for office. Instead, he walked the streets of Athens, barefoot and humble, asking people tough questions. He challenged politicians, poets, and everyday citizens. Why? Because he believed many people pretended to be wise but didn't really know what they were talking about. He didn't aim to win arguments. He aimed to help people think. He wanted them to wake up and seek truth, not just follow the crowd, and the world hated him for it. Eventually, the leaders of Athens put him on trial for corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods. But Socrates didn't back down. He could have begged for his life. Instead, he chose death over dishonor. He drank poison and died standing for truth. Now ask yourself, how many people today would be that bold? What can you learn from Socrates? You don't have to wear a toga or speak Greek to follow in his footsteps. Socrates isn't just a guy in a history book, he's a mindset. And if you apply that mindset today, you'll rise above the crowd in ways you can't imagine. Here's how. Ask better questions. Most people are trained to repeat what others say. Socrates did the opposite. He asked why until people had to think for themselves. He believed that real wisdom begins when you realize how little you actually know. Try this. The next time you're in a conversation, don't just nod or argue. Ask, what do you mean by that? How do you know that's true? What would happen if we tried the opposite? Asking questions doesn't make you annoying. It makes you different. It makes you dangerous to ignorance and valuable to truth. Don't be afraid to stand alone. Socrates was ridiculed, arrested, and executed for challenging the status quo. But guess what? His enemies are forgotten. His legacy lives. Lesson: the world doesn't need more followers. It needs more people willing to stand alone for what's right. If you're mocked for thinking differently, good. You're probably on the right track. Know thyself. One of Socrates' most famous sayings was this: know thyself. It sounds simple, but it's powerful. Today, people scroll endlessly, compare themselves to influencers, and live in fear of not being enough. But Socrates flips the script. Stop obsessing over who you appear to be and figure out who you really are. Ask yourself, what do I believe in? What kind of person do I want to become? What habits are making me weak, and what habits could make me strong? The better you know yourself, the harder it is for others to control you. Live a life that's worth dying for. Socrates didn't die because he hated life. He died because he loved the truth more than comfort. He showed the world that there's something more valuable than popularity or survival: integrity. Challenge for you. What do you believe in so strongly that you'd risk being misunderstood or criticized for it? Live for that. Build your life on something bigger than money, likes, or fame. Why this matters more than ever. In today's culture, people are trained to be passive, to stay in their lane, to agree with the loudest voice. But Socrates calls you to something higher, to think freely, to seek truth relentlessly, to build a life of depth and conviction. If more young people embraced the mindset of Socrates, we'd have stronger leaders, deeper conversations, fewer lies, and more courage. You don't have to be a philosopher to do this. You just have to be willing to ask questions, pursue truth, and never settle for shallow thinking. Final thought. Socrates lived thousands of years ago, but his mission is more urgent than ever. The system doesn't want you to think deeply. The world doesn't reward people who ask hard questions. But that's exactly why you must. Be brave enough to think. Be bold enough to speak. Be humble enough to grow. Be a modern Socrates, and you'll become someone this world desperately needs.